Order. Prime Minister's got no responsibility for that. Question number 2, Todd McClay. Now, order. Now, I'd like the House to be just a little more reasonable with the interjections. Todd McClay.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister of Finance, what measures has the government taken to support vulnerable New Zealanders through the aftermath of domestic recession and global financial crisis?
The Honourable... order. Now, look, order, I just asked the House to be more reasonable, and the Minister hasn't even opened his mouth, and the Honourable... Order! I'm still on my feet. The Honourable Shadow Leader of the House is interjecting in an unacceptable way. The Honourable Bill English.
Despite difficult economic times, the government has focused on assisting those most in need through the recession. We've adjusted all welfare payments for the cost of living. New Zealand Super has been increased by $194 a fortnight, or 22%, since 1 April 2008. We adjusted all benefits to compensate for the rise in GST. We've also invested significantly more in specific programs designed to help New Zealanders off welfare and into work, because that is the single most important step households can take to help themselves. And we've also embarked on a broad-ranging process of reform to reorganise the way that government interacts with those who are most vulnerable, so that we can encourage them onto a path of independence rather than trapping them in dependence as our traditional structures have.
Todd McClay.
Supplementary to the Minister, what are some examples of government initiatives focused particularly on improving the lives of vulnerable children?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, there is a long list, but these measures are focused on those who suffer the most deprivation, which is actually a different group, a smaller group, than those who find themselves in a situation of a low-income household. The initiatives include, though, the Better Public Services results targeted on increasing infant immunisation rates, which are now higher than they have ever been in New Zealand, targeting a reduction in assaults on children, and on increasing participation in early childhood education, particularly for those from the most vulnerable households. This comes on top of extending the program to improve the living conditions of tens of thousands of New Zealand children by insulating and heating 230,000 homes, which will include the insulation of all 70,000 state houses by the end of next year. And that is not to mention the rheumatic fever program and further funding for free under-6s visits.
Todd McClay.
Thank you. What recent reports has the Minister seen on the position of New Zealand's most vulnerable children?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, the Children's Commissioner's Expert Advisory Committee today issued its report on solutions to child poverty, including 78 recommendations. We will pick up some of the ideas that we believe will work, and some of the issues that the report covers are already being addressed. For instance, there is merit in the suggestion of community hubs and a warrant of fitness for homes which access government subsidies. The government is already ensuring that beneficiary teen parents are in education and being helped into work. In fact, all 2,600 teenage mums under the age of 18 now have an organisation alongside them and supervising their progress. However, we will not support universal child payments. Families on the lowest incomes are in the greatest need, and any new spending needs to be targeted on them.
Todd McClay.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. What is the government's overall approach to addressing some of the issues raised by the Children's Commissioner's Advisory Group report?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, our approach is to work to protect those who are genuinely the most vulnerable by targeting more of the government's resources on those people and those families, rather than spreading resources thinly across all New Zealanders through universal programs. And we're also focusing on mobility, that is, assisting people out of the dependence in which they can often be trapped, to take the steps such as through education, through skills, through supportive childcare, through assistance into employment, taking the steps towards independence so they do not remain in poverty.
Question number 3, Matiru Ture.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Tēnā koutou katoa i te whare.